Thank you, Minister. I recognize the member for Fredericton Grand Lake and leader of his party.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Minister and staff, for being here today. I just have a few questions. It shouldn't be too long. I'm just curious, in terms of ONB's business development services, I guess on a large scale, I'm wondering if the Minister could break down kind of an idea of what, I know there's business navigators, but what type of services ONB would offer to either new startups or current businesses that are here that are looking to expand, like just a very simple breakdown, I guess, of some of the services offered to local businesses.
So I'm going to give you quite a bit of detail here with respect to opportunities. So just with regards to your question regarding businesses in general versus startups. So through our business growth team, we actually support small and medium-sized businesses across every region of the province. The team guides business planning efforts, helping to navigate the New Brunswick ecosystem, connecting companies with the appropriate support via referrals, and providing access to advanced export expertise. Also, ONB's support for New Brunswick companies is aimed at spurring private sector investment. New Brunswick's entrepreneurs now have access to one-on-one support in navigating the regulatory requirements of running a business thanks to ONB's Business Navigators that you mentioned earlier that launched in October of 2019. With this initiative, ONB is working to ensure that entrepreneurs in our province spend less time navigating regulations and more time actually running their business. And also, I would add, access to skilled talent is a major consideration factor for companies, and immigration often plays a key role in ensuring that their needs can be met within the province. And also, just to clarify, so we do not fund startups. There is funding available for businesses in general, but we don't fund startups because there's a whole roster of opportunities out there for startups, which I can certainly supply you with a list of all of those folks who do that. And I just think finally as well that I just want to reiterate that we have a strong business growth team. We actually have 7 regional offices and I believe it's 5 satellite offices throughout the province that are accessible at any time for anyone who has any questions, whether it be a business in general or startup for that matter. So those opportunities are there. And once again, to the leader of the party, if you would like a copy of everything that's available for new startups outside of ONB, I can give that to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for that. And just another question I have here in relation to the business development services. It's my understanding there was an increase of 1.1 million to that, and I'm just wondering, like the additional money, the increase, I guess, in that budget, is that for current programs that are in place because there's more money needed with those programs, or is these for new programs on top of the current programs that are in place?
Staff have confirmed that there's no additional funding for business development services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. I'd like to focus on another budget item that we've seen here, special purpose account recoverable projects of $300,000. I'm just wondering if you could maybe explain that.
So we have a role to play with respect to the federal government when it comes to immigration. We actually co-chair together on the immigration work, and the immigration secretariat, that actually gives us a secretariat, and that immigration secretariat facilitates multilateral collaboration among the provincial and the territorial ministries responsible for immigration. It organizes ministerial, deputy ministers and ADM meetings, provides support to immigration working groups and tables, and provides strategic policy analysis and development related to immigration issues. It also allows us the opportunity to work closely with our federal counterparts in sync. And also, just with respect to the $300,000, what that is that's actually contributions from all the provinces to this initiative, and it's based upon a per capita amount, and it is submitted by all provinces and territories, and we actually have 3 staff that are covered under that allocation. Thank you.
Minister, for that detailed explanation. I appreciate that. I noticed the loans and advances through Opportunities New Brunswick. It was originally budgeted for $50 million for 2021, but only recorded $13.8 million for the year. And I'm just wondering, you know, with the $50 million, I guess that was budgeted versus the actual amount that was paid out, why the big discrepancy there between the two?
In terms of the $50 million and the $13.8 million for the year and the amount that basically has been left over, we believe the reason why we're seeing that is because there were lots of federal programs that were available and folks took advantage of those programs. The other thing in addition to that is that we do have our working capital loans program, and what we saw on that was an uptake of $17 million. And we know moving forward, as some of these federal programs expire, that we think that we're going to see significant uptake on the provincial side, so that funding that's left over will be very helpful moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. So the remainder of the money, I would assume, rather than being clawed back, will roll over to the next year?
That fiscal opportunity is gone. So the $13.8 million that was spent, there's no carryover funds. However, for this fiscal, we do have $50 million moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I figured that's how it works, as it does in most government agencies and departments. A question about a lot of talk lately about the small modular nuclear reactors and the investment that's going into that that project. Is Opportunity New Brunswick playing any role in that, in terms of whether you're talking about a development here in New Brunswick or really any factors? Is ONB playing a part in the SMRs?
ONB actually does have involvement. Specifically, ONB is actively involved in developing the SMR supply chain by supporting New Brunswick companies in efforts to retool, increase productivity, and prepare for coming export opportunities. In addition, as both ARC and Moltex grow in New Brunswick, Opportunities New Brunswick is well positioned to support their employee growth as well. Most recently, ONB spoke on the New Brunswick supply chain potential at an event hosted by the Organization of Canadian Nuclear Industry, which connected the Welsh nuclear industry to the province of New Brunswick.
Thank you, Minister. I am one of those that believe there's potential here with SMRs. My understanding is government allocated $20 million to this project. With ONB's role in that, is that in addition to that original funding announcement? And if so, do we have a rough idea how much ONB may be investing in SMRs?
There's actually no financial participation from ONB with respect to the initiative. Ours is really a support role in terms of supply chain and things of that nature. Thank you.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you. When we talk about ONB's financial assistance to different companies and businesses in New Brunswick, I guess, could you, Minister, through the chair, kind of explain the different types of financial assistance? I know there's payroll rebates and there's other ones. And I think more importantly, what I'd really like to know is, of all the funding that's given out by Opportunities New Brunswick for business expansion, what percentage of that funding would be allocated to payroll rebates versus other types of financial incentives? Because my understanding is payroll rebates, when the job has been placed and the person hired, then Opportunity New Brunswick then gives the money to the company for that payroll, where others may be a little more risky. So I'm just wondering the percentage versus payroll rebates and other financial incentives.
Just with respect to the payroll rebates, you're absolutely correct. It is actually a preferred form of support, a tool that we like to use because it actually does protect the taxpayers' dollars, because the company actually must demonstrate that they've met the conditions and then, of course, apply for the rebate. So, yes, you're absolutely correct. In terms of the percentages, so this, the percentage breakdown is payroll rebates represent 68%. Conditionally repayable, that would be 14%. And that would be where they would have to actually meet the conditions before receiving the payback, or not, potentially. Then, of course, there's another category, which is other, which is 19%. And that would be small business development assistance and support. A couple of examples would be market development support, as well as productivity support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. It's my understanding Opportunities with New Brunswick was first kind of launched that there seemed, at least the perception was there, that there seemed to be more riskier investments that were made at that time. So it is good to see that today 68% of it is going to payroll rebate, which does safeguard the taxpayer to some extent. I mean, I guess my core ideology has always been low taxes and free market and less government interference. But I do understand the world we live in today, you do have to be competitive. So thank you, Minister, and your team for that quick answer. Get those percentages quick. That's good. I just had, well, I guess one more question is all I got time for. So on your website, on the Opportunities New Brunswick website, it talks about sectors. It talks about advanced manufacturing, agri-tech, cybersecurity, digital health, energy innovation, and ICT. And one that caught my eye, I think, the most was digital health. Especially as we go through a pandemic, we know of all the healthcare challenges we have in the province. I've been a strong supporter and advocate for virtual care, which I think needs to be expanded much more here in New Brunswick. But in terms of digital health, Minister, can you give us some idea of what role Opportunities New Brunswick, either has played or is playing in digital health for New Brunswick?
I'm going to give you quite a few details. So New Brunswick is developing a reputation as a place where technologies can be tested, refined, as well as proven. And as a small province, we have a collaborative network of stakeholders across industry, academia, and government. So to your question, ONB's strategic objectives with respect to digital health, we're continuing to develop a cluster of activity to position New Brunswick as Canada's living lab for digital health. The cluster building efforts will focus on the following key areas: alignment of the ecosystem partners, identify and execute cluster building initiatives, maximize economic development opportunities within New Brunswick's digital health and innovation spend. Moving forward, work is going to continue to build on recent investments and activities, such as the $75 million initiative from the Public Health Agency of Canada to do aging-related applied research in the province of New Brunswick, and the establishment as well of 1 out of 3 national innovation hubs through AgeWell, which is Canada's technology and aging network. And we're seeking to attract additional private sector investments that will remain a focus moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for that. And we could probably spend the afternoon drilling down on that, because I know there's lots of interesting work being done on digital health, both from the health networks and otherwise, and I do think we do absolutely have to move into that much more aggressively. So I see my time is up. We've got a hard close at 2, so in respect to that, thank you, Minister, and again your team for being here today and answering these questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.